11 videos left. We're on day 79. Today I didn't have any morning committee meetings. Business and Labor, I think, only has a couple more things to do, so we took today off and I'll head in tomorrow morning, but not until 10. We had 17 bills today on second reading on the floor. 5 were bills that came back to us with Senate amendments. 2 were study resolutions, and 10 were Senate bills that passed through the Senate, and now we're making decisions on them. You can see the full agenda at ledge.mt.gov. The Senate amendments to House Bill 240 are worth talking about. House Bill 240 is the guns on campus bill. It said essentially that a college student could take a gun to their college dorm room and the only person they had to tell about it was their roommate, and that if that roommate, whom they'd never met before, felt that maybe this was an issue of concern, it was their duty to report to an authority on campus. The bill, as written, is totally unconstitutional because in Montana's constitution it says that we cannot mandate that the Board of Regents do something or not do something. So the Senate knows that and sent this bill back to us with amendments taking out language that says the Board of Regents must do anything or cannot do anything. So they basically made the bill constitutional. Of course, the sponsor of the bill recommended that we do not concur with these amendments that make the bill constitutional. Good news for the brewery lovers, the beer lovers out there. House Joint Resolution 18 passed. So instead of passing the bad anti-brewery bill, there will be a study that goes on during the interim on Montana's liquor laws. Senate Bill 117 seems like a bill that will help a lot of Montana families. It allows for deductions for college savings for college savings plans that are in other states. So right now, if you have a college savings plan for your kids in the state of Montana, you can take a tax deduction, and this opens it up so that the college savings plan could be in another state, and you would still get a tax deduction. So I know that's an issue for a lot of folks, and it seems like something that people would go for. Senate Bill 265 was an extension of a water compact that was not passed. So the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes have taken 15 years to negotiate a water compact that was failed in committee. It was sent to the Judiciary Committee, which is totally just the committee they sent it to so that it would die. And it did. And then this bill was yet another effort to delay this water compact, and the tribes have already said we're going to sue because we had already negotiated this deal and it didn't get passed. So that's an issue that's of interest to a lot of people. Senate Bill 175 was the school funding bill of the century, possibly. It passed 60-40 after several attempts to amend it. The only attempt to amend the bill that worked was by a very respected representative who brought amendments that put the bill almost back to its original form. So in the House Education Committee, this bill had been amended in so many ways, more ways than I could explain in a 10-minute video. And he actually brought amendments that didn't exactly put it back to the way that it was, but put it very close to the way that it was originally. And then it got 60 votes in almost its original form. And it'll be on third reading tomorrow. There was a little bit of an argument on the House floor about whether it should go to the Appropriations Committee or whether it should go to third reading. We voted on that motion and we voted to send it to third reading tomorrow. House Bill 277 is the term limits law. And we've been talking about this for the last few videos. It would limit the number of years we can serve to 16, which is what it is now. But instead of the way it is now, that it has to be 8 in the House and 8 in the Senate, it would be a total of 16 regardless of where you are. It had come back from the Senate amended with like a lifetime limit. And since that happened, there have been several attempts to move it and get that amendment off. So we voted today that tomorrow this bill, the term limit bill, is going to be put on second reading so that we can discuss and possibly remove the lifetime limit. So a person like me who's 33 years old could maybe serve their 16 years, and then after X amount of years has passed, come back. The way the law is now, the way it is amended right now, I could serve 16 in either house, but never again, regardless of how old I am. When I'm 70, I couldn't come back and run for office again. Senate Bill 387 was the Campaign Finance and Office of Political Practices bill that I talked about on Saturday. The sponsor of the bill had a motion to reconsider and promised an amendment that would fix our worries about the bill, and his motion failed. He only got 42 votes. And then Senate Bill 375 was blasted, or an attempt was made to blast it. This is the governor's and a Republican senator's aim at campaign finance. I talked about this on Saturday as well. This bill has had nothing but trouble from the very beginning. It targets dark money, and says that anyone who is spending money to influence politics in Montana should disclose who they are. We should know who is spending money to influence campaigns in Montana. And it was a Senate bill, and the Senate wouldn't even assign it to a committee. They had to fight just to have a hearing on the bill. This bill has had nothing but a fight from its very inception, and it was tabled in the Judiciary Committee, once again sent to Judiciary so that it would die. And a Republican representative today made a motion to bring it off the table in the House Judiciary Committee and have a conversation about it on the floor. And if you would like to see who in the Montana House of Representatives wants to protect dark money and doesn't think that you or I or anyone else has a right to know who is spending money on politics in Montana, you can go to bit.ly/darkmoneylover. And that will show you the vote on this blast motion. The people who voted no are the people who are voting to protect dark money. Interesting, I think. And then in Human Services this afternoon, we heard a second attempt at Medicaid expansion. New people were here from across the state arguing points that we did not argue in the first bill. In the first hearing, the opponents were people from Billings and a few people from Helena. And this time, kind of the same thing. We had 40 proponents from all across the state saying, please, we need this. And then we had 9 or 10 opponents, mostly from the Flathead this time, some of whom weren't sure whether they were opponents or proponents. One man was clearly very confused about why he was at the hearing and said he was a proponent, and then the people that I suspect gave him a ride to the hearing said, no, you're an opponent, you're against it. And he looked at him and said, no, I'm for this bill. So they had a little bit of confusion about who they brought from the Flathead and what their story was. One woman said that she is against the bill because it's too long. And I think it's important to note that we make, I think it's $82.46 a day for 90 days while we're here. And we also make $110 per day, 7 days a week in per diem. And so if you do the math on January 7th through April 27th, getting $110 a day almost every day with a couple of exceptions, and then $82.46 times 90 for the days that we serve, and add on to that the fact that most of us take $733 worth of state insurance for the entire 2 years that we're elected to office. In the 4 months that we serve, we're making well over $19,000 just in per diems and pay, not counting our insurance. And so, Montana is supposed to have a citizen legislature. That's kind of like having a jury of your peers. But the folks on the committee who are making the decision on whether or not to provide access to health care for Montanans who make $15,000 or less per year are making a $19,000 supplement to their regular income in the 4 months that they're in Helena. So if they don't understand why anyone would need help getting access to insurance, it's because they just truly do not understand. And once again, I'm going to say that, it's time that we represent folks in the Montana House of Representatives and Senate that have been where we have been, have walked the path that we have walked, and can understand where we're coming from. And maybe we'll see a little more empathy and humanity and sanity in the Montana Capitol. Thanks for the cards I've been getting in the mail and the well wishes. I really, really appreciate it. I know that we're all in this together.